The space station floated in the dark, endless sea of stars. It was old, broken in many places, and very quiet. Only one human lived there. His name was Daniel. He was not a hero, not a soldier, not even a captain. He was just an engineer, sent to keep the machines alive a little longer. Every day was the same. He woke up, checked the oxygen systems, fixed the water filters, and wrote short reports that no one really read. After that, silence. The silence of space was heavy, felt like it pressed on his chest. The empty station made it worse. No voices, no footsteps, no laughter. Only the soft hum of machines. At first, Daniel liked the peace. No noise, no busy city, no rules. But after many weeks, the silence became something else. It was too deep, too endless. It made him feel small, like a single grain of sand lost in a desert of stars. He often turned on the radio just to hear his own voice echo back. But one night, something changed. Daniel sat in the control room, half asleep, staring at the blinking lights. Suddenly, the communicator made a strange sound. Not the usual static. This sound was softer, pulse like a heartbeat, then a whisper, broken and faint. Daniel froze. He leaned closer. "Hello," he said. His own voice sounded too loud in the quiet room. No answer, only the strange pulse. He tried again. "This is Station Orion 3. Who is this?" Communicator hissed. Then, for a moment, he thought he heard a voice. It's not clear. It's just fragments, like words torn apart by the static. Daniel rubbed his eyes. Maybe he was tired. Maybe the old machines were failing again. He stood up ready to walk away. Then, the voice came again, stronger this time. "Hear me, lost. Can you?" Daniel's skin turned cold. His hands shook as he reached for the controls. He boosted the signal, adjusted the frequency. "Who are you?" he asked. His heart raced. This station was abandoned. No ships nearby. No one should be out here. Reply came slowly, broken, but real. "Alone. I am lost." Daniel swallowed hard. It was not a recording, not an echo. It was someone alive. Someone speaking. He tried to calm himself. Maybe it was another station. Maybe a ship passing. Nearby, he asked again, "Where are you? What's your name?" The voice went quiet for a long moment. Then it whispered, almost shy, "Traveler." Daniel frowned. That was not a real name. But the voice, soft, high, and almost musical, did not sound like any human he had ever heard. "Traveler," he repeated. "Yes," the voice answered, still broken by static. I am lost. Can you hear me?" Daniel leaned back in his chair, staring at the communicator as if it might bite him. His mind raced. Could this be real? Could someone be alive out there, sending signals across the void? "Where are you?" he asked again. But the voice only repeated one word. "Lost." The signal cut off. Silence filled the room again. Daniel sat very still. His mouth was dry. He wanted to believe it was just a machine error, a random signal bouncing through space. But deep inside, he knew it was not. He had heard something alive. Someone alive. The next night, it happened again. This time the voice was stronger. Still, broken but clearer than before. Daniel spent hours trying to tune the communicator, chasing the signal through dozens of frequencies. Finally, the voice came through. "You hear me?" "Yes," Daniel said quickly. "I hear you. Good. You are human." Daniel hesitated. "Yes, human. Who are you?" "Traveler," the voice said again. It was strange. The time she said that word, it felt heavy, like it carried more meaning than she showed. Daniel tried to keep his voice steady. "Traveler, are you in a ship? Do you need help?" "Ship broken." "Hide, you hide." "Yes, they look." For me, the words were chilling. Who was they? Why was she hiding? Before he could ask more, the signal broke into sharp static, screeching like a scream carried from far, far away. Daniel yanked off his headset, heart pounding. The sound vanished. Silence again. He sat in the dark, staring at the blinking communicator. Was it real? Or was he slowly losing his mind in the silence of space? But deep inside, Daniel knew the truth. Someone was out there. Someone calling to him. And she was not human. The next day, Daniel could not stop thinking about the voice. It had been soft, fragile, and almost human, but not human. Every sound from the communicator haunted him. The strange heartbeat-like pulse, the whisper of traveler, static. That ended in a scream. He tried to convince himself it was just noise, just broken machines playing tricks. But in his heart, he knew it was real. That night, Daniel returned to the control room early. He turned off the lights so only the glow of screens lit his face. The empty station groaned quietly, metal echoing with age. Outside the window, the stars looked colder than ever. He waited. Hours passed. No signal. His eyes grew heavy. Maybe she would never return. Then a spark of static. Pulse. Daniel sat up, hands flying over the controls. "Traveler, can you hear?" "Me." Silence. Then the whisper came. Soft, but clear. "I hear you." Daniel's heart jumped. "Good. I was waiting for you." "You waited?" "Yes." His voice cracked a little. "I wasn't sure if you would come back." The voice was quiet for a long time, and it said slowly, almost like a secret. "You are the first who ever waited?" Daniel blinked. "What do you mean others? They turn away, they fear, but you wait." Her voice was not only strange, it carried emotion, fear, sadness, maybe even hope. Daniel swallowed. "Traveler, are you really? Where are you?" "Far," she said, "hidden. My ship is broken. They search for me. I speak. Too long, they find me." The words chilled him. "Who is they?" But the voice ignored the question. Instead, she asked softly, "You? Human? Yes?" "Yes. My name is Daniel." "Daniel," she repeated, carefully shaping the word as if tasting it. Then she whispered again, "Human. I thought you were gone." "Gone? What do you mean? You're kind." "Long ago, I saw. I thought you were lost to the stars." Daniel frowned. His throat tightened. "No, we're still here. We're on Earth, we're alive," the communicator hissed. Then her voice came again, softer, like a breath. "Earth." I remember that word. Something about the way she said it made Daniel shiver. She spoke like someone who had seen Earth, not just heard of it. "Traveler, how do you know about Earth?" The voice went silent. Static filled the room. For a moment, he thought she was gone again. Then she whispered something unexpected. "Daniel, why did you call me lovely?" Daniel froze. His mind scrambled. He had said that word last night without thinking. A joke. A slip of the tongue. He cleared his throat. I didn't mean lovely," she repeated, cutting him off. Her voice trembled, but not with anger, with something else. "No one ever called me that." Daniel blinked. "You don't mind?" Silence. Then a faint sound, almost like a laugh, but not like a human laugh. More like music echoing in water. When you said it, I felt warm. Strange, but warm. Daniel leaned back in his chair, heart racing. What was happening? He was speaking to something not human, something hiding in the shadows of space. And yet she blushed at his words. "Traveler," he said slowly, "do you have a real name?" She paused. "Yes, but if I speak it, they can find me. So I am Traveler." Daniel sighed. He wanted to know more, but he could hear the fear in her voice. Whoever they were, she was terrified of them. "Then Traveler it is," he said gently. "And lovely." She asked, almost shy. Daniel laughed softly despite the cold air around him. "If you want me to call you lovely, I will." Voice made that strange, watery laugh again. "Lovely. I like that." For the first time in months, Daniel smiled. The empty station did not feel so empty anymore. But then the signal trembled. A sharp crack of static tore through the line. "Oh no," she whispered suddenly, her voice full of fear. "They are near. I must go." Wait. Daniel shouted, "Who's near? Tell me what's happening." The communicator shrieked with static, like claws dragging across metal. The lights in the control room flickered. Then silence. Daniel sat frozen. His hands trembled over the controls. She was real. She was out there. And something was hunting her. For the first time in a long time, Daniel did not fear the silence of space. Now he feared the noise. The days on Orion 3 station passed slowly, as they always had. But now Daniel felt something new each morning: expectation. He no longer counted the hours of silence, counted the hours until the signal returned. Each night when the stars outside shone like frozen fire, he sat in the control room waiting. And almost every night the strange pulse came. Then her voice followed, soft and hesitant like a secret. "Daniel, are you there?" "Yes," he would answer quickly, sometimes too quickly. "I'm here." And the silence of the station would melt away. Sharing Earth at first, the girl asked only small questions. "What is sky?" Daniel smiled faintly. "Blue. Sometimes gray. At night, dark, with stars. Clouds float in it. Clouds? White shapes, like soft mountains. They move when the wind pushes them." There was a pause, then her voice grew lighter. "Wind. I remember wind." That sentence made Daniel pause. She remembers wind. Where could she have felt it? He wanted to ask, but something in her tone told him not to push. Instead, he told her about rain, about standing outside when the drops fell on his face, about the smell of wet earth, about how children would jump in puddles, laughing. "Laughing," she repeated. That word again. "Yes," Daniel said softly. "It's when something makes you feel joy, like happiness spilling out." "Do you laugh, Daniel?" He chuckled. "Not much out here, and I will try," she whispered. Her next sound was awkward, broken, but it was a laugh. Strange, echoing like music underwater. Yet it made Daniel smile wider than he had in years. Her blush sometimes. Daniel forgot himself and spoke too freely. One night, after a long talk about Earth's oceans, he sighed and said, "You'd love it. The sea is well. It would match you perfectly. It's lovely like you." Silence. Daniel cursed himself. He hadn't meant to say it again. But before he could explain, her voice came, trembling.
Lovely.
"You call me that again?" "Sorry, it just slipped out." "Do humans often speak with slips?" she asked, almost teasing. Daniel laughed nervously. "Sometimes, especially when something matters." Her voice softened. "Then keep it. I like how it feels." Daniel leaned back, staring at the ceiling. His chest felt strange warm in a way the cold metal station never allowed. Strange. Interruptions, but their talks were never safe for long. Sometimes while she spoke, the signal twisted. Her words bent into static, replaced by sounds that were not hers. Harsh tones, echoes like distant roars. Each time, she would grow quiet. They listen. I must hide now. And silence. Daniel began to hate that silence. He would sit in the dark, fists clenched, waiting until the communicator blinked alive again. When she returned, she always sounded tired, as if running from something even while standing still. "Daniel," she whispered one night. "Do you keep speaking to me?" "You know I bring danger," hesitated, then said the only truth he had, "'Cause you make this place feel alive. Without you, it's only walls and machines. With you, it feels like home." For a long time there was no sound but the hum of the station. Then her voice came again, quiet and trembling. "No one ever said that to me." The warning one night, the signal came stronger than ever before. Her voice was sharp, urgent. "Daniel, listen, do not trust the silence." "What do you mean?" he asked quickly. "The silence is not empty. It waits, it hides them." Daniel frowned, fear crawling up his spine. "Who are they?" "Chasing you, hunters," she whispered. "They do not forgive. They do not forget. If they find me, they find you too." His throat tightened. "Then I'll help you." "Tell me what to do." "No," she said firmly. "If you help me, they will hunt you. If you turn away now, you might live." Daniel sat in the dim light, staring at the communicator. He thought of his life before her days of silence. Nights of loneliness. What kind of life was that? I already made my choice, he said softly. The communicator hissed. Then her voice came back, almost breaking. You are human. Truly human. I thought I would never hear such words again. The bond that night, something changed between them. She no longer spoke like a stranger. She spoke like someone who belonged. Beside him, Daniel found himself telling her about his past, his first flight. His sister back on Earth, the little guitar he once played. She listened to every detail, as if his life were a treasure. Daniel, she whispered at the end. When you speak, I forget the fear. For a moment, I feel safe. Daniel smiled in the dark. Then I'll keep speaking. Outside the station, the stars shone cold and endless. But inside the control room, two voices crossed the void, weaving warmth through the silence. Neither of them said it out loud, but both knew they were no longer alone. The space station had never felt safe, but now it felt watched. Daniel sat in the control room waiting for her voice. His hands tapped nervously on the desk. The communicator lights blinked like tired eyes. Outside, the stars seemed to still, like they were holding their breath. Finally, the signal came. The soft pulse. The whisper, Daniel. He let out a shaky laugh. I'm here, traveler. You've scared me. I thought you wouldn't come back. Her voice was low, almost urgent. I should not. It is dangerous, but I cannot stop. Daniel frowned. Dangerous how? 'Cause they are close. The words froze him. Who are they? You keep saying that. Tell me, the line went. Quiet, then, she whispered, broken by static. Hunters. Daniel swallowed hard. The word alone sent a chill down his spine. Hunters of what? Of me. Of my kind. Of any who hide. Her voice shook, but it carried truth. Why? He asked. Because we are not like them. We escaped. We ran. They do not forgive. Daniel leaned forward, and now they're after you? Yes. The word was sharp. And if they find me, they will find you too. The silence that followed was heavier than the station walls. The shadows approached that night. Daniel could not sleep. He paced the metal halls, every groan of the old station sounding like footsteps. The empty corridors felt like traps. When he returned to the control room, the communicator blinked again. Her voice rushed through, filled with fear. Daniel, listen to me. Their ships move near. I feel them. Daniel's heart pounded. He scanned the radar. Nothing but black space. Yet she sounded certain. Traveler, how can you feel them? 'Cause I know their silence. It is the silence before they strike. Daniel shivered. He stared at the blank radar, knowing it could not lie, but also knowing she had never been wrong. A choice in the dark the next time she spoke. Her words were heavier than before. Daniel, you must decide. Speak to me no more, and you may. Live. Continue, and they will come. Daniel froze. His throat went dry. She was right. If he stopped now, maybe the hunters would pass. Maybe he would live quietly, safely, forgotten. But he remembered the weeks before her voice. The silence. The emptiness. The loneliness that felt like death already. He shook his head. I've already decided. You are foolish, she whispered. Maybe, but I won't let you face this alone. For a long moment, the communicator carried only the hum of space. Then her voice returned, softer, almost breaking. Human. I did not believe your kind still had such courage. Daniel smiled faintly, though fear churned in his stomach. Then you don't know humans as well as you think. The static warning the next night, when the signal returned, it came with something new. Not her voice first, something else. A crackle, a roar. The communicator screamed with harsh tones. Like 1,000 voices speaking at once, Daniel covered his ears. Then her voice cut through, sharp and terrified. They're close. They search the dark. Daniel slammed controls, switching frequencies. The noise followed, like claws scratching metal. What do I do? He shouted. I'd shut down. Light. Silence your station. Do it now. Daniel didn't hesitate. He killed the power grids one by one. The station plunged into shadow. Only the emergency glow remained. He held his breath, staring out the window at the endless stars. His heart hammered so loud he feared they could hear it. "Do not move," she whispered. They listen for motion. They taste fear. Daniel's palms sweated as the communicator hissed with alien static. For long minutes he sat frozen, waiting for anything to happen. Then suddenly, silence. "They pass." "For now," she whispered. Daniel let out a shaky breath, his whole body trembling. A glimpse of truth that night. Before the signal faded, Daniel asked, "Traveler, why me? Why speak to me?" There was a pause. Then her voice came, low and honest. "Because you listened. Others would run. Others would call me monster. But you stayed." Daniel swallowed. "If I stay, I become their target too." "Yes." Daniel looked around at the empty station. He thought of the reports no one read, the silence that swallowed him every day. Then he looked at the communicator, glowing softly in the dark. "Then let them come," he whispered. "I'd rather risk everything than go back to being nothing." The line went quiet. For a moment, Daniel thought she was gone. Then her voice returned, trembling with emotion. "Daniel, you are not nothing. To me, you are the first light." Her words lingered as the signal faded, and for the first time, Daniel realized this was no longer only about loneliness. This was about survival, about her, about both of them, against the dark, and the dark was coming. The space station had always felt like a coffin in the stars, but now it was worse, because Daniel knew it was no longer just silent. Something out there was hunting. The hunters and Travelano Lovely was their prey. Preparing for flight, Daniel stood in the old hangar, staring at the shuttle that had not flown in years. Its silver skin was covered in dust. Wires hung like dead vines. The control panels were dark. It looked hopeless, but Traveler's voice came through the communicator in his ear, calm and steady, despite the fear in it. "Daniel, you must make it live again." Daniel sighed. "This ship hasn't flown since before I was born." "Then let it be born again," she whispered. "I will guide you." And so he worked. Hour after hour, he crawled through the shuttle's guts. He replaced cracked circuits with spares scavenged from the station. He welded broken pipes, his hands blistering. Sparks lit his face as he worked in silence, broken only by her voice guiding him. "Move the power line." "Yes, now connect the stabilizer. Careful, it carries charge." At times, Daniel thought her knowledge was too perfect. She knew systems no human should know, but he did not ask. He only listened, because her voice made the impossible feel possible. The first spark after 3 days of work, Daniel sat in the pilot seat. His fingers hovered over the ignition switch. His heart pounded. "All right," he whispered. "Moment of truth." "I am with you," Traveler said softly. Daniel flipped the switch. For a long second, nothing happened. Then a low hum. Flicker of light. The engines coughed, choked, then roared alive. Daniel laughed, a wild sound in the empty hangar. "It works? Lovely. It actually works." "Lovely," she whispered back, her voice carrying warmth. "Yes, it works." For a moment, the fear faded. The dead station seemed alive again, a new threat. But that night, while Daniel checked the shuttle's systems, the signal broke into static. Daniel Traveler's voice came, sharp and trembling. "They move closer." "Faster than I thought." Daniel froze. "How close?" "Too close. They hunt my signal. Soon they will. Hear yours." He swallowed. "Then we don't have time." "No," she whispered. "We have none." Daniel stared at the HFY shuttle. Some systems were working, others still dead. If he launched now, it would be suicide. If he waited, the hunters would arrive. He clenched his fists. "We'll finish it in time, we have to." "You risk all for me?" she said softly. "Why?" Daniel's chest tightened. He wanted to give a clever answer. Instead, he gave the truth. "Because I can't lose you." There was silence. Then a faint sound, a laugh, mixed with a sob. "Daniel, you are human." Hiding the signal that night, she taught him something strange. Your station broadcasts. They will find you. You must hide. Oh. I will give you a code. Old. From before they enslaved us. It will cloak your heat, your voice. Daniel worked through the night, typing her code into the systems. Strange patterns of light flashed across his screens. His machines bent to her. Knowledge, masking the station in shadows, but masking was not escape. Escape was the only way left. A promise in the dark, on the fourth night, Daniel sat in the shuttle cockpit. Traveler's voice was weaker now, full of static. Daniel, they are near, I feel them. You must be ready. I will, he said firmly. Do not doubt, no, not anymore. He smiled faintly. You called me light. Then I'll be that. For both of us. The line crackled. Then her whisper came, trembling but clear. Then promise me. If we run together. Daniel's hand tightened on the controls. I promise. The countdown the shuttle was almost ready. The engines roared strong. The systems blinked. With life, but the station trembled now with more than age. On the radar, shadows flickered. For the first time, Daniel saw them. Small, dark shapes moving between the stars too fast, too sharp to be anything but hunters. His breath caught. They were real. They were here. He slammed the communicator. Traveler, lovely, we don't have time. I have to find you now. Voice came, urgent and shaking. Yes, soon, Daniel. Now we'll show you where I hide. But you must be ready. They will not let us meet easily. Daniel looked out the window at the dead station, then at the living shuttle. His heart pounded. The silence of space was ending. The chase was about to begin, and for the first time, Daniel was not running from it. He was running toward it. The shuttle shook as Daniel powered the engines to full. Alarms wailed in the hangar, warning him of unstable systems, but he ignored them. Outside the windows, the stars blurred as the old machine roared to life. His hands gripped the controls tight. His heartbeat was louder than the engines. On the communicator, Traveler's voice trembled through the static. Daniel, listen. I will guide you, but you must follow exactly one mistake. They will find us. Daniel nodded, even though she could not see him. Just tell me where. South vector. 33 degrees. Move slow. They watch the fast. Daniel adjusted the thrusters. The shuttle groaned, lifting from the hangar floor for the first time in decades. Dust rose in clouds, floating in the low gravity. Then, with a shudder, the shuttle slid free into open space. For a moment, Daniel felt weightless not from the engines, but from what lay ahead. Somewhere out there, she was waiting. The hunters close, but the radar screamed almost at once. Small dark shapes appeared at the edge of the screen, moving too fast. Too sharp, the hunters. Daniel cursed under his breath. They're already here. I know, Traveler whispered. They smell me through the dark. That is why we must be quick. Daniel pushed the engines harder, but the old ship shook violently. Panels flickered. The warning lights blinked red. Not too fast, Traveler warned. They will notice. You must flow like driftwood on water. Daniel swallowed. He eased the controls, letting the shuttle glide instead of race. Slowly, almost lazily, he drifted toward her hidden place. The hunters on the radar shifted, scanning the void, but did not turn his way. The cloaked ship at last. Traveler's voice came again, soft and near. You are close now. Look to your left. At first, he saw nothing. But stars? Then like smoke in the air, shapes bent, and something appeared. A ship, small, scarred, almost invisible, cloaked in some strange shimmer. Daniel's breath caught. That's you? Yes. My home. My prison. My hiding place. He guided the shuttle closer, fingers shaking on the controls. The hunters circled on the edge of the radar, but none turned toward him. Not yet, all right, he whispered. Docking sequence. Careful, Daniel. Our ships are not of one kind. The bond may break if you rush. He smiled faintly despite the fear. Then we'll take it slow. First sight, the docking arms extended with a hiss, The two ships kissed in silence, metal touching metal. For a moment, Daniel feared it would fail. But then the clamps locked. The lights blinked green dot connection. Daniel's breath shook as he unstrapped himself. He walked through the shuttle corridor, each step echoing louder than the last. Ahead was the docking hatch, a thin door between him and her. His hand hesitated on the release. For weeks she had been a voice, a whisper in the dark. What if she was not what he imagined? What if she was something else entirely? But then he remembered her laughter, her fear, her blush when he called her lovely. He pressed the switch. The hatch slid open, and there she was. She stood in the dim light of her ship, tall, slender, her skin glowing faintly like starlight against water. Her eyes were large, bright, full of worlds he had never seen. And when she looked at him, they widened in shock. For a moment, neither spoke. The silence was louder than engines. Then Daniel whispered, almost without breath, "Lovely." Her cheeks, if they could be called that, shifted color, glowing softly like embers under ice. She lowered her gaze, then whispered back, "Daniel." Her voice was the same, but now it carried shape, carried presence. It was no longer a ghost through wires. She was real, and she was blushing. Together, Daniel stepped forward slowly. She did not retreat. Their hands almost touched in the space between. He could see the faint tremble in her fingers. "I feared," she whispered, "that if you saw me, you would turn away." Daniel smiled gently. "Then you don't know. Humans, as well as you think." She lifted her gaze again, glowing eyes searching his. Then, softly, she said, "Lovely. That is what you are too." Daniel's heart stuttered. The word from her lips carried a weight he had never known, but before he could answer, the radar shrieked. The hunters had found them. The alarm, her eyes flared with fear. "They come." Daniel turned, slamming his hand on the communicator. The shuttle alarm screamed. The radar showed black shapes rushing in fast. "They've locked on," he said, voice sharp. "We have to move." Traveler gripped his arm, her touch both strange and warm. "Then we run. Together." Daniel nodded. The hatch sealed behind them. The engines roared alive. For the first time, human and alien sat side by side, hands tight on the controls as the hunters closed in. And in that moment, Daniel knew this was no longer about survival. It was about them. The shuttle roared through the dark, engines screaming as if they would tear themselves apart. Daniel's hands shook on the controls, but he held them steady. Beside him, Traveler sat upright, her glowing eyes locked on the radar. The hunters were everywhere. Black shapes darted through the void like shadows with teeth. Their ships had no lights, no markings, only sharp outlines that blended into space. They moved too fast, circling, closing in. Daniel gritted his teeth. "We can't outrun them forever," no Traveler whispered. "But we can outsmart them." The chase the hunters struck first. A beam of searing light ripped past the shuttle, close enough to blind Daniel for a second. Metal screamed as the edge of the wing melted. Daniel fought the controls. "Lovely. I can't take many more hits like that." Traveler leaned close, her voice sharp and calm. "Angled the ship down. Out toward the gas giant." Daniel's eyes widened. The gas giant loomed below, a storm of red and gold clouds spinning. Like a living beast. "You want me to dive into that?" "Yes. The storms will hide us. Their machines will not see." Daniel didn't argue. He pushed the thrusters forward, plunging the shuttle into the churning atmosphere. The ship shook violently as pressure slammed against it. Lightning flashed outside the windows, blinding white and violet. The hull groaned as if it would break. Apart, the hunters followed. The storm inside the storm, Daniel fought for control. The wind screamed louder than the engines. Sparks danced across the panels. Warning lights turned the cockpit red. But through it all, Traveler's voice was steady. "Left thruster. Now stabilize." "Yes, hold it." Daniel obeyed, sweat dripping down his forehead. "How do you know all this?" She hesitated. Because I once ran the storms. I learned to live in them. And now I teach you. Her eyes glowed brighter, reflecting the lightning. For a moment, Daniel forgot the danger. He only saw her strong, radiant, alive. Then a blast tore past the window. When Hunter had locked on, the shuttle spun as a beam clipped its tail. Daniel cursed, pulling hard on the controls. The ship spiraled, falling deeper into the storm. Lovely, hold on. Traveler's hand gripped his tightly. Her skin was strange, smooth, and warm like living crystal, but her grip was strong. Daniel, listen. If we fall, you must eject. Take the pod. Save yourself. He shook his head. Not a chance. Do not be foolish. No, he shouted, eyes burning. I didn't fight through silence, through loneliness, just to lose you now. If we fall together. Traveler's lips trembled. Her glowing cheeks shifted color again. She whispered, then together. The escape lightning struck again, wrapping the shuttle in blinding light. In that flash, Daniel saw what he had been waiting for, a vortex, a spinning funnel of clouds, a place to hide. He pushed the engines hard, diving straight into it. The hunters fired, but their beams scattered in the storm. The vortex swallowed the shuttle whole. Darkness wrapped around them. For a moment, only silence. Daniel held his breath. The radar flickered. The hunters circled above, confused, searching, but not finding. Traveler's voice came soft, almost in awe. You did it. We live. Daniel let out a shaky laugh. We live for now. Revelation. The revelation as the storm calmed. Daniel turned to her. Her glowing eyes met his. Lovely. Why are they chasing you? She hesitated. Her hands tightened on her lap. Then she whispered, because I chose to remember. Daniel frowned. Remember what? Her voice grew heavier, older, filled with sorrow. Your world, your people, Earth. Daniel froze. You've been to Earth. Long ago, before the hunters ruled the skies. Before your kind was hidden from the stars. She looked at him, her eyes shining like galaxies. Humans were not forgotten. We were watching. Always watching. And now, because you called to me, they will look at you again. Daniel's breath caught. The galaxy knows about us. Yes, she whispered. And now the galaxy will remember you. The promise outside. The storm began to clear. The stars returned, distant but bright. The hunters were gone for now. Daniel leaned back, exhausted. He looked at Traveler, at her glowing eyes, at the blush that still lingered on her cheeks. We're not safe yet, he said softly. But we're together. That's enough. Traveler reached for his hand again. Yes, together. The shuttle floated out of the storm, battered but alive. Behind them, the hunters would regroup. Ahead of them, the galaxy waited. And for the first time, Daniel realized this was not the end of his story. It was only the beginning.